Awesome.
All right, everyone, we're live here on Facebook, and we welcome you to our training webinar sponsored by Greystone Investment Group and Image Building Media. I'm Alan McNabb with Image Building Media, and Jorge, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, guys. My name is Jorge Vasquez, CEO of Greystone Investment Group, where you invest and we do the rest, just giving you the perspective of a client to Alan, to Image Building Media, and hope I could be of help. Thank you.
Uh, yeah, I'm sure you can. So let's dive right into it. Let me remind everyone that our cheat sheet, the URL to that is in chat. It'll also be on Facebook where we're live. You can get it there. And for the Greystone agents, it's also in WhatsApp. That'll help you keep up tonight because we'll cover quite a bit of material. And also in the cheat sheet, there are some URLs where you can get a lot more information. Jorge, I wish we could teach everybody tonight how to be experts in 1 hour with email marketing, but that's not possible. But we want to give everyone the basics so that everybody can be working on this. And certainly you're a great person to have with us tonight because you've got an amazing database and you have built your business not only with social media, but also with internet marketing in general. So Jorge, give us a little introduction to email marketing, if you would, please.
Absolutely. I've always told agents that there's two ways of making money in real estate. And why am I saying agents? Because that's the industry that I'm in and the one that I know. And there's two ways of making money. It's money that you make today by the efforts that you do on a daily basis, and the money that you build up with time, meaning your contacts, the lead sources, the people you network with, and emails are vital part of that. And Alan, since you know me for a decade, right, 10
Right.
years,
Yep.
I've made it a priority to collect at least one new email a day. That's always been my goal. Let me collect at least one new email a day. And what happens is maybe at the beginning doesn't make a big difference, but after a few years, and you, of course, you stick to the same business, you're eventually going to have a huge database. And what we're going to talk about is what do you do with that database? How do you make those contacts start buying your product? In this case, buying real estate. And to me, marketing email, has been a vital reason why I've been able to take my company to the next level. I don't do signs. I don't put signs out there. I don't go out networking. Not anymore, anyways. I don't do nothing but build connections online. And that's what we're talking about today, how you build those connections and how you stay in front of them.
100%. And looking at our cheat sheet here, Jorge, the first thing we're going to talk about before we get into the effectiveness and the ROI, and by the way, to everyone in our audience, please feel free to chat in some questions. We've got the raise your hand feature. We're also watching on Facebook. So we want to get any questions in here, but email marketing, probably to the surprise to some people, is the most effective and has the highest ROI, more than social media, more than SEO. Email is, you just got to be doing email if you're going to be successful. So the first thing, Jorge, we want to talk about is email within your entire, we'll just say your entire marketing program. And here I've got just a little article, internet marketing, and there's a lot of things that go into internet marketing. Like you were saying, you're not doing the networking anymore. Basically, you're doing internet marketing, and email is an important part. So Jorge, let's talk about how email fits into like your social media, how it works with your website, how it even works with your network marketing, how it works when you're in the grocery store and you meet somebody. So if you can, talk about how email marketing fits into everything else that you're doing.
Absolutely. You know what's funny, Alan? When you think about somebody could report you for spam, right? Why is that the case? Why could somebody report you for spam on an email, but cannot do so in social media? In the same way, it's because, in a way, email is the easiest, fastest way of you bugging someone, in a sense. So what that translates is that it is the easiest way of getting somebody's attention, because you get into somebody's inbox, it's almost like dropping mail. That's why there's so many laws around it. That's why we got to be careful. That's why we need professionals like yourself. But that tells you that it's not the same. There's a way bigger impact on an email versus a post in social media. So the email is very important. It's very direct. You could customize it. It's supposed to be a more personalized way of talking to your leads. And it's just something that people are used to doing, reading every day. So if you get the right email, the right followers, the right people in your database, it's the easiest way to get in front of them.
That's right. And we, we're spending a lot of time with social media, right? And social media is bringing people to our website. And, people come to our website, but, well, where do we go from there? Well, the important thing is to be collecting, doing this lead generation, getting this email so that you can market to them on an ongoing basis. And Jorge, I mean, how long have you had some people that are in your database? I mean, how long have you been marketing to some of them?
Gosh, if I tell you, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, if I tell you, Alan, what has happened to me this week, you guys will not believe it. You guys will think I'm full of it, because at least in 4 different occasions, almost daily, I've had people almost star shock say, "Oh my God, I've been receiving your emails for 3 years. You picked up the phone. You're the man I want to talk to." So I've had people. So you have different types of people. You have people that are already convinced that they want to do it with you because they've been long enough. I had a client that got into our database 3 years ago, and guess what? They closed on a deal last month. We made $30,000.
Awesome.
We had a client that said to me, so like I was saying, there's 3 types of people: people that are already convinced, people that are almost convinced, and people that are not yet convinced. And that's your job, by having them in the database, how you're going to convince them. But the longer they stay, the longer they go from the non-convinced to maybe to convinced. And I couldn't tell you how many people just this week alone, I would say about 4 people have reached out to me. But it takes time. It takes consistency. And it takes, you making sure that you're presenting valuable content through email.
Yeah, and Jorge, one of the things I use email for, I'll sign up for a newsletter with a company. I'll submit my information to get email from them, is if I think it's something I may want or need in the future. And I may get their email for who knows how long, 10, 15 years. And I say, one day we might need, since we're an internet marketing company, one day we might need that service, or we might need that product. So I get their email for years and years and years, and I don't want to forget about them. And so you may have people, they think, well, I would like to invest maybe when I get to a certain point in life, and maybe it's going to be 10 years from now. And so they'll sign up with you, they'll get your email, they'll be reading your emails, they'll be going to your website that you're promoting your articles, they'll be watching your videos. And when it's time for them to invest, who are they going to invest with? It's going to be you. So there's just so much that you can do with email. And let me go, Jorge, back over to our cheat sheet. And I particularly want to talk about the effectiveness of email marketing has a 3,800% return on investment. I mean, can you think of anything else that has a 3,800% return on investment? So why don't you talk to that for just a moment in regards to the return on investment?
Absolutely, because it happens is it little by little that returns become bigger and bigger. Of course, at the beginning, maybe that starts with a zero because you got 2 emails. Then you have 100 emails and you got 10%. You have 1,000 emails, you have 20%. But listen, this is what happened with most people, even within our own agency. I cannot tell you that all of them, all of my agents are taking advantage of this. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to raise my hand. Most agents are not doing it because it's so hard to believe. Okay. If I tell you that I made so far this year $500,000 and I haven't even put one single sign out there, and it has come from social media marketing, converted into emails, converted into campaigns that have yielded those buyers. It's so hard to believe that most people don't take the action because they say, no, it's never going to happen to me. But for those that stick around, and it's not an overnight thing, Alan, that's the problem. That people think, okay, I got 50 emails. How come I'm not getting any buyers? It takes time. It takes persistency. But when you have enough, once you get to that line of 4,000 or 5,000 contacts, things start to happen. Beautiful things start to happen that you didn't even expect it. So those returns of 3,000, 4,000% will come to you. Now, let me give you a perfect example. Let's say I'm paying $100 to keep up with my database. Let's call it $500 to keep up with my database. I'm not putting any time into it, but I could tell you that there was one email last month that made me $20,000. So that's when you see those 5,000% return, 10,000% return, because your effort is not there anymore. But it just takes time. And if you guys could pass, can you move on from not believing in it to believing in it? That's the biggest hump. People saying, is this really going to work? But until you get to the thousands of connections, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. But you have to start as something at some point.
Yeah, you got to start. You got to start with, like you said, if you got 10, 50, 100, say you got 100, you got to start somewhere. Well, Jorge, it was not an accident that we did the social media marketing, we did the website marketing, and now we're doing the email marketing because this is how it works. What is the point of your social media? And it's interesting to me, there's a lot of people that will spend hours and hours on social media. But what's the point of social media? The point of social media is to get them to your website. Well, what's the point of getting them to your website? It is to get the email address so that you can market to them. And I think that is one of the biggest pieces that so many people in business miss. They want to, they want to go to social media and they want to sell the moon, and they want to have a website and, basically do nothing with it and just expect there to be sales, but they miss the component part that email is where it's at. That's where the return on investment is. And again, I totally agree with you. If we could convince with this training webinar, just for folks to say, my top priority has to be to build my database, to work my database, to be sending out the emails, to grow my database. Jorge, I love watching reality TV and I love watching real estate reality TV. And quite honestly, I've learned a lot because you hear from, you see what some of the greatest real estate professionals are doing out there. And one thing I've never forgot is it's one of the gentleman who has an agency in LA and sells multi-million-dollar properties. And his most important thing with his whole marketing strategy, what would you guess it is, Jorge?
Email.
It's his database. And as an agency, they spend over $1 million a year as an agency on their database and growing their database. So yeah, Jorge, if we can convince everyone, go ahead.
Let me break it out. Let's break it down for the folks watching this. All right. Yes, everything is a funnel to your email, to collect the emails. Okay. Is social media important? Yes, to a point. Okay. Social media, there's only two things that you're going to accomplish with social media. You want to look the part, because those people that go to your website are going to look for you in social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. So you want to look good. You do want to have some followers, right? You don't want to have 3 followers. So social media, of course, is your resume when people are looking at you. But don't mistake it by wanting to add more people to your social media than your actual database. Everything is a funnel to your database. To Alan's point, you could have 1 billion people in social media and not be as effective as having 5,000 qualified contacts in your database. So I've said it, I'm gonna say it again because I'm pushing my agents all the time to have the best social media, the best Facebook. That is your face to the world. That is your resume. Of course, has to look good. Of course, you have to have a minimum of followers. In the ideal world, you have a few thousand. But once you get to that point, hey, it's all about collecting those emails. And Alan, one of the reasons I survived 2008, when everybody closed the doors on me, when the banks were saying no, when the title companies were saying no, where I didn't even get one phone call through 2008 and 2009 to sell anything, it was because I was able to go to my own pool of contacts and say, hey guys, what do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about, instead of buying properties, let's buy notes, real estate notes. Let's do short sales. So that was what saved my butt from going under. The fact that I have my own pool, that I could fish out of my own pond, and I could say, okay, I know at least I have a couple of big fish there. So as long as you're doing people the right thing, as long as you have the right image, and you staying consistent with your brand, those people will follow you and will say, okay, what is next, Jorge? Because they're in the business, at least in my case, to make money. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that and break it down for people that are putting more effort into their Facebook than their database.
Absolutely. And I want to get to the advantages of email marketing, which is going to, again, emphasize the fact as to why it's so, the ROI with email marketing is so high. But so I do want to just summarize. So with everything we're thinking about, whether it's face-to-face marketing, social media, posting properties in marketplace, our website, it's to collect those emails and to be having effective email marketing go out. If we don't have a database, we have nobody to email market to. So growing the database is super important.
Absolutely.
And I do want to talk about, and I've got this to everyone who is with us tonight, I've got this in our cheat sheet, advantages of email marketing. And quite honestly, we've got quite a bit of information on our website, Image Building Media, and I'm just using information from there because we've done some pretty extensive research and some writing on this. And so I want to talk about the effectiveness, and I just clicked right on that link, and that's going to take us, going to take me right, well, I thought it was going to take me right there anyway. So let me go here to the advantages of email marketing so we can talk about this. And Jorge, we touched on this just a little bit, that email marketing, it's more reliable because when you post something on social media, I mean, what's the odds that they're going to see it, right? But when you send an email, what's the odds they're going to see it? So that's one of the things that is so important with email marketing. And also, Jorge, you mentioned the word personalization already. You know, when someone sees a post on social media, is that directed right to them personally? Absolutely not. But when you send them an email, and especially if you're doing it the right way, you address them in the email. Hi, whatever their first name is. And as a matter of fact, here's a little stat for you. If you put their name in the subject line, the open rate is 80% higher. You say, wow, how do you put, for 50,000 people, how do you put their name in the subject line? Hey, you've got software that'll do that for you. And, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to do that. But the advantages of email is so much greater. The odds are 1,000 times more they're going to see it. It's going to be personal. It's going to be directed to them. We're not going to have time today to talk about segmentation, where you're grouping people with particular interests and you're addressing their interests. So it's customized to them. And as a result, the return on investment is much higher because they're seeing it, it's addressed to them, it's addressed to their interest. And so the return on investment is much higher. So Jorge, you want to talk just a little bit about the advantages of email marketing over some other things?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's more customized. The open ratio, you kidding me? I mean, you could have 5,000 people in Facebook. Chances of seeing something, they're very minimal. In versus email, depending on if you do a good job, you could be, on the ups of 25, 30% of your emails are being looked at. So the percentage is a lot greater. The delivery is better because it's something that they're accustomed of doing. Your client is accustomed of opening up emails. So it's just another email out there. And yes, I mean, it's way better than social media at the end. Of course, it takes longer to bring people to your database, to accept the content that you have. Is not an overnight thing. Therefore, it's more valuable. That's why you could add a friend in a second, but adding an email takes a little more effort. So there's more value behind having an email than a friend in Facebook.
Yeah, that's a great illustration. You can spend the time to do 10 Facebook posts, and how many people are going to see them? Not many. But you could take the time to do one good email to a well-developed database, and 1,000 times more people are not only going to see it, but are actually going to open it and see what you've got to say. And I think, again, Jorge, as we're trying to impress upon people the importance of email marketing, this again is the difference. And a lot of people have spent time on social media that very few people see. The algorithms of the social channels are such that, organically, not many people are going to see it. Why is that? Because they want you to pay for ads. But email marketing is free, right? Now, you want to pay for a little software, starts out at what, $15 a month? What's that? When you're selling investment properties and making thousands and thousands of dollars on one sale, what's $15 a month? And so that will get that delivered. Many more people are going to see it. Your return on the investment is exponentially higher. So there's great advantages with email.
Like I said,
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt. Like I said, is the commitment. Okay, if you're not in I don't mean to discourage anyone here, but if you're gonna do it for a month, forget about it. If you're gonna do it for 6 months, forget about it. If you're not into it a few years, and it actually happened to me when I first started the database, had my first couple of hundred people, and I was hearing gurus like Alan and other people and saying, "Nah, this is crap. I'm not selling anything. Nothing's happening." It's funny when agents come to me and say, "But I got 500 people." But that's a drop in a bucket. You need to have more. I bet you anything that out of those 500 people, there's potentially maybe 20 or 30 buyers, but not for 2020, maybe 2023, 2022. You never know. So if you're gonna make this work, you need a commitment, and you got to put years into it. Unfortunately, I know that we're every day more new generations are more into that instant gratification. But if that's all you worry about, instant gratification and making money today, then okay, don't do this. But if you want constant flow of leads, in a way, a retirement of your hard effort, where you go now, you've been more proactive or reactive to what you're getting. Years from now, you're sitting in a position like I am, where I'm not showing properties to anyone. I'm not going anywhere. I don't leave my office, but I did have to bust my butt for years to build up my database to keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to retire on the way of you doing things, hardcore selling, you need to build your database.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the next one is building customer relationships. I don't know about you, Jorge, but I have a library of emails that I have that I've received from vendors and from customers, and I keep those long term. I've got emails that go back. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 15 years. And so email, more than just about anything, helps us to build lasting customer relationships. I can't tell you who was a friend 10 years ago on Facebook. I can't tell you anybody right now that's liked our Facebook business page, but I can go to my email and I can show you person after person and company after company, and I can show you these conversations. And so it helps to build these lasting relationships, because I'll see these. I mean, just the emails I got today with the companies that I follow. It's highly unlikely that I'll see them on social media unless they're paying for an ad. I might see them, but I get their email, some of them several times a week, some of them weekly, some of them monthly, and I have this relationship. So Jorge, talk about this building of a relationship through email marketing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I want to talk about is, don't make it so hard on yourself. Believe it or not, you already have a couple of thousand emails that you know of. You just don't know that you know. But it's all about that daily habit of, oh crap, I talked to the plumber, let me save the email. I talked to my neighbor, can I have your email? If you make it a daily habit of putting those emails away, or finding technology that helps you to do that, you'll get to that goal faster than ever. But yes, to Alan's point, a lot of times I have agents that pay. Perfect example. I'm sure that Lee and Luz don't mind me saying this, but they pay thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, and they get a whole bunch of clicks, a whole bunch of likes, and it feels really good. But at the end, okay, well, how are we going to close that business? How are we going to close those likes? What are you going to do with those likes? There's nothing you can do with those likes. So having the email allows you to build that relationship, because they're going to continue. I mean, I get people that think literally that I'm almost like a movie star, that I have a reality show or something. And it's because they've seen my face for so long, for so many years. I've always said this, Alan, no matter how stupid you are, as long as you stay in a trade long enough, you become then you become a seasoned, right, on your trade. Becoming seasoned on your trade, it gives you titles: seasoned investor, seasoned agent. Those titles bring you more connections. Those connections bring you buyers. That's the same thing that the email does, because they're seeing you since 5 years ago. They don't know how experienced you are, but they're like, damn, he stays in the industry for 5 years, he must be doing something right. So that consistency definitely helps you promote your business a lot faster.
100%. I hope everybody's fired up, and you know, I imagine all of us. I mean, I'm fired up. You know, it's like, hey, man. I mean, I need to do a better job with email marketing. You know, I hope everybody is. So let's give some practical advice. And I want to talk about building the email list. Now, we've talked a lot about how we need to do that. I want to talk in some practical ways. Well, how do you do that? And Jorge, also with this, I want to talk about defining our audience, you know, because we got to know who we're marketing to. And then we want to talk about, you know, really creating that email. You know, I did a video just this week, as a matter of fact, on, well, how do you start making videos? You know, it's hard to make that first video, and you know, to you know, all kinds of reasons why, but it's hard to get making the email this week and then next week and the next week. So let's give some practical advice, Jorge. So the first thing is, we want to talk about, you know, how do you actually get started with building this list. So I'm going to go back. I'm on our cheat sheet there, and I'm going to go right here. So Jorge, let's give some practical advice and say, okay, how do you build this list? You maybe start out with 50 or 100, and you say, I want to be at 200. And I can remember, Jorge, when you were setting goals, and I'm sure you still are, that, you know, but by the end of the year, I want to have 10,000, or I want to have 15,000, or I want to have 20,000 people in my database. So Jorge, what is some practical advice that maybe someone's not even started, or maybe just, you know, has just getting started? You know, what is some practical advice about how to build this database so we have somebody to send email to?
Okay, that's a good question. So the first thing I would do is I would look at what I do on a day-to-day basis and find synergy within. You know, am I doing something on a daily basis that I could add one more point to it and ask the email? You know, so if I'm sending an email to a vendor, maybe at the end of my signature says, do you mind if I add your email to my database? Okay. If I'm talking to an investor today, agent, so to whatever you're doing on a daily basis, the first thing the challenge that I give you is, can I add one more step onto every conversation piece that I'm having that day to add that email? Am I talking to the mailman when he came in? Can I have your email? Vendors, whomever. But we're very busy in our day-to-day stuff. So coming up with this complex way of system of getting emails, you'll never get started. Look at what you do on a daily basis and challenge yourself. Of course, you want to give yourself goals, realistic goals. You know, maybe I want to have 100 per month, sort of, you know, that type of stuff. But what type of synergy, you know, on what I'm doing in a hourly, minute by minute basis, where I could add one extra step to collect that email.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jorge, I remember some years ago, and I don't know how many people you're connected with LinkedIn now. I think 35,000 is the maximum, and you went through a whole thing where, you know, you were just constantly reaching out to all of your LinkedIn connections, and it was surprising how many people were like, "Yeah, add me to your database." Talk about that.
Well, as simple as that. And once again, it's all about time management. So, of course, depending on your personal situation today, you gotta attend to paying your bills and doing the things that make you money that week, that month, whatever the case might be, that payroll period. But in the meantime, you also have to be working on things that are coming in the future, like, you know, sorry guys, I got somebody walking in. No problem. All right, so the cleaning lady, she just came in. We love her. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So there's two ways of doing things. Of course, for the first thing you need to do is time management. Okay, because I don't want you to go out there and spend 8 hours a day seeking for emails. You gotta get paid. You gotta do your sales. So you gotta find a way of creating a business plan, uh, that schedule that you decide, okay, how much time am I gonna devote in a daily basis to, to seek for emails, and then do that. But there's so many different ways. To me, it's all about synergy. If you're gonna go to YouTube and post something, maybe just add a liner that said, hey, leave me your email. I'm collecting email. If you're gonna post a property in the MLS, should, if you have the capability of putting on the comments, hey, can I collect the email collected? Anything that you do that is within what you're already doing, if you can add an extra step, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. But you brought up a few. There's a way on, if you open up a group in LinkedIn where you could actually do announcements. You could go to different groups. Let me tell you something. I don't know if Juan is here on the call. Is Juan here on the call? Okay, no, he's not here on the call. But he said to me, boss, how can I add a whole bunch of emails right away? And he simply went to different investment groups and said, hey, my company has a ton of deals coming through. You want to receive them? Something that simple. And I look at a couple of his ads, and he had like at least 20 emails on one of them, 30 emails on the other one. It's not rocket science. It is in your face. It is easier than you think. But if you're not thinking of it, you don't see it. The minute you start thinking of it and brainstorming, you're going to see it all over the place. It's very easy, guys.
Yeah, and one of the things we have here, Jorge, is to offer value. I mean, there's got to be a reason for people to subscribe, right? And, a lot of times I'll subscribe, to get white papers, that's detailed information, that's research. And, I know I sign up, but you know what? They're like sending me research like every month. I mean, it's great. So offer value to people where you've got really great information that they want, or, maybe it's investors. Perhaps they're, Jorge, I know you've had investors that are buying like maybe 80 or 100 properties a year. And, you've got properties for sale, and that's valuable information so that they're seeing your properties for sale, and, they're snatching up some of those properties.
I would say a couple of tips. Do not discriminate. Take everybody's email. You never know whose neighbor, maybe not that person, but the neighbor is referred to you. A family member, grandma, maybe, yeah, grandma's never going to buy real estate from me, but you never know who she's going to forward that email, like my cute email, to somebody else and say, oh, look at my grandson, look at how beautiful this email is. And all of a sudden I have a buyer. So do not discriminate on it. But secondly, value could come in so many different ways, because some people say, well, I'm not a real estate guru. What type of value am I going to bring? But value could come in so many different ways. It could come in a form of, you could be motivating people, you could be telling people a story about how you do not know anything, but little by little you get into that process, they're learning with you at the same time. So don't feel like a value is just something fixed to the people, the professionals, and the people that have been doing it for a long time. Find a way of bringing value, and then the people are going to follow you and going to subscribe to you.
100%. Now, Jorge, let's also talk about, okay, so now you're ready to, start sending those emails. Maybe you have 50 or 100 or 200 people, and, you're ready to say, okay, I want to start, sending these emails, and maybe you're just using Gmail right now to do that. And that's perfectly fine. So, when someone thinks they're going to sit at their computer and maybe it's their first email they've ever sent to their database, or maybe they've been doing it a little bit, but not much, what are some important tips? And I know, Jorge, as you said, we've been working together for a long time. I know there's been many a Sunday you've been working on your database and getting the next email ready to go out. So what are some things to think about when they're, getting this email ready? What's some things to think about?
Yeah, some of it's all about bringing the value, of course, in looking at your audience. Okay, make sure that they're gonna find they're not gonna feel offended by what you're sending. They're gonna find it relevant to what they're looking for. Uh, but the biggest mistake, and this is something I've learned of many years of doing this, keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, so many people want to want to send this newsletter that's as long as the Santa Claus letter, they can scroll down, miles down. No, just keep it, be concise, just pick up one topic. If you have two topics to talk about, save it for the next week. Keep it clean, simple, couple of liners, and that's very, very important. Make it, and test your different emails. One thing that I do is I send HTML emails, meaning emails with, with a lot of pictures. Sometimes I send tests only, so I could fool some of the spam filters, So just test it out, but keep it simple, straight to the point, short videos, and be as how do you say it? Be as personalized as possible. The email allows you to do that. Actually, in Active Campaign, you could do name, last name, phone number. You could do email. You could do birthday. So you could actually, there's a lot of things you can do that you could build in, where you could say, Alan, hi, Alan. How you doing today on your birthday? I saw that you bought a house that is blue, because we know that's your favorite color. There's so many things that we could do. And half of the people, when I send them an email, they think I'm just talking to them.
That's it, and I've got the same thing. It's a client that you and I both know, as a matter of fact, for many years. She's in the mortgage business, and she said to me, it's been a few weeks ago now, that email, it looked like it came to me. It was personalized, where it was like it came to me and nobody else, but I know that email went to everybody. I said, that's exactly right, but it has to look and feel that way, that it says their name. It can be like, and Jorge, I want to talk about automations before we go, because it's so important in the world of marketing in general. But like the birthday messages you're talking about, those can go out automated every year. You never touch them. You never do anything. It takes a little setup. So it's going to take you, 30 minutes or 40, 45 minutes to set it up. But it goes out year after year after year to your database. Every year you go in, you change it a little bit, it takes 5 minutes. But you do nothing, but that's a touch, one of the touches every year to your database. So exactly, many of the things you were mentioning, we've got, in this web page that we're showing, use their first name. If you can, use it in the subject line. Maybe you see this, a subject line will come in, email and say, it'll say Alan McNabb, : here's something you need to see, or something about what they're talking about. And when I see a subject line come into my email that's got my name on it, it makes me curious to what they're talking about, because they know something about me, right? And although I know it's automation, but yet they have gone to the effort to put my name there. And so if you can put their name in the subject line, use important words. That relative to what this is about. And this is part about being short, be succinct, be to the point, to, get your message across very quickly, and show some personality. That doesn't mean you got to tell them a joke. Doesn't mean you got to tell them a sad story. Doesn't mean you've got to, ramble on, but, make it personalized. And the advice I give, Jorge, is when they receive the email, at least those ones you're talking about don't have any pictures, nice and short, just all text. It should look like that you sat down to the computer, you typed it out in like 10 seconds and sent it. It should be like that. And it should sound just like you, exactly what you would put there.
Well, let me tell you something, my friend. The customization is so good sometimes that the person will call, yo, Jorge, my man, how are you? I got the email last week. I got the second one, and they start talking, and they're into it for like 15 minutes until I finally am able to stop them and say, who are you? But it's a good thing because it's so easy at that moment. You're gonna smile because at that moment that person connected with you and is ready to hear you and buy from you. It's amazing. Actually, I hope Viral was here. We sold a property. We got a contract in a property we sent out yesterday. I don't know if you saw that email, Alan. It's just the basic text.
I did.
So we got an offer on that
That's
property.
awesome. And let me tell, and Jorge, I know you and I talk a lot about this, but to everybody that's listening, now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do the emails with pictures. I think you should. I received those. There's some really good companies that do that. But also you should do the emails that are just text, like you just sat down and typed it in just a few moments. Now, statistically, those have the highest conversion rate. Now, it doesn't say that the others you shouldn't send, but here's again, one other illustration. The email was not long. It was to the point. It had, short, concise sentences. And those are the emails. You got to make sure you include some of those emails. And Jorge, that was sent from your database, right? With probably some sort of personalization in there, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was me typing it,
Yeah.
Very quick in maybe 10 minutes. And we got an offer. So 10 minutes is going to yield us maybe $25,000.
Hey, that was a 10 minutes well spent.
Exactly.
But you have all of the effort for how long have you been? 15 years or so? You've been building your database, and it's a culmination of all that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, I've heard people that said, I want to work another more, I want to work W-2 for another 2 cycles because I want to start collecting Social Security. We work all of our lives to get these peanuts of retirement, but we don't work on a database. There's actually clients that are going to come to us without us having to do anything. And I know I see John here with us. He just closed a big ass deal. I am sure he's like, well, wait a second. If I could do 2 or 3 of this, and if I could have people reaching out to me via email, it's you get it or you don't get it. Unfortunately, most people don't. But the people that gets it and go, it makes sense. And some people get lucky. Some people send the first 100 emails, get a sale, and go crazy about it. Most of us have to spend, like me, wait a couple of years before it starts working. So it's up to you.
100%. Now, Jorge, we've got a few minutes left, about 10 minutes. I want to make sure we don't run out of time to talk about automation. And then I hope we have a minute or two to talk about analytics, because analytics are very important. I know that you watch your analytics. I mean, that's the only way you know what's working, what's not, what's effective, what's not. So let's talk about automation first. And I want to share my screen again. And I know that Greystone has some rather complex automations, and I'm not encouraging everybody to, try to jump into that right away. But talk about automation a little bit, and perhaps we could talk about some simple automations, like we already talked about the birthday one. So let's talk about automation a little bit, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge believer on basic automation, 2-3 layers maximum. I think more than that, then it's an overkill to me. what are simple automations? Well, you got with somebody in an appointment yesterday, and now let the system thank them for meeting with you. You know, that's simple. How many of us have done that? Most of us mean to do it, but we don't have the time. And it's all about time management. Most of us want to say, man, I met with that person 3 days ago and I didn't send them an email. Well, let a system do it for you. You know, that's one thing. Of course, birthdays are important, but automation is gonna make you look like you care more, that you're giving them special attention, and that you know, it's like multiplying yourself. It's like having 3 or 4 of you, uh, but don't overdo it. I think I've made that mistake of overdoing it. And then defeats the purpose, because obviously the computers can only be so smart and make sense of things. One automation could say to another automation, he's green when he's blue, and then all of a sudden, then it looks really fake. But basic automations, 2, 3 step automation is definitely a plus. It's going to help you stay in front of the client. It's going to keep you relevant as well.
Yeah. So, for example, you know, for for agents, you know, they meet a contact. It goes into their database, and let's say you have a meeting, and you simply add a tag, and then the email automatically goes off, and maybe you want to have even two, maybe 3 emails go off, and you know, they're sort of spaced out a little bit. You can even put, if you have something in that meeting that you talked about, well, you can just add that into your database, and then that will, you can set it up where that's automatically included. So your email comes out talking about, you know, something that you discussed in the meeting, or something like that. Same thing, for example, for an agent, they, you know, they have an appointment to, you know, show someone a house. So the person's already in their database. They put the date of the showing in their database. They put a tag on there. And then you have, for example, an email go out the day before your meeting. And then you have an SMS text message go out 2 hours before your meeting. Then after the meeting's over, they receive, you know, another email to follow up. So what this does, it keeps us from sitting at the computer typing the same email over and over and over and over and over again. We just let our system take care of it. We add a tag, and the system fires out that email for us automatically. So it takes a fraction of the time, and you know, it just helps us. Jorge, any other automations that you like? I think, I don't know if I mentioned, you can do it for anniversaries, you can do it for birthdays, you can do it for meeting confirmations, you can do it for meeting follow-ups, you can do it for reminders, just all sorts of things. Any other automation things you have on your mind there?
Well, I mean, the one thing I want to say when it comes to agents, most of us have one connection with our client, one in a lifetime. That's crazy, huh? Sometimes we do that one sale and we never see them again. It's not because they don't do more in real estate. It's because we're not a utility bill or a phone bill. We're not, they don't get reminder in a monthly basis like a bill that we're here, you know, you're paying for this service. It's a one time and you go, I never see you again. So the automation is a good way of saying, happy 1 year anniversary of us buying the property together. Here's a picture just in case you never got to see this picture. Imagine what they're going to do with that. They're going to post it in social media and say, oh my God, I forgot about this picture, you know, and then have all the friends look at it. So there's so many things that you can do, but for agents, it's essential. I mean, it seems for agents, they're always looking for the next client. They can never get repeat business, but because they do an awful job of staying in front of that client on a consistent basis, you know. And that's go ahead.
You know, Jorge, we were talking about a lot of agents want to get sellers, and sellers are hard to get. you know, and we were talking about this, and we just mentioned the best way to get a seller is to sell them a house, because what are they going to do in 5 to 7 years? They're going to
Exactly.
be selling the house, you know. So every time you sell a property, you've got another customer within 5 to 7 years statistically, right? So I mean, that's a great way to build your database, because all those people, generally speaking, they're all going to be selling their houses. There's another sell right there.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
hey, we've got just a couple of minutes. Let's talk about analytics. I'm just going to move down the page here a little bit. And I know analytics are super important to you. And I know you know your analytics. I know you know your open rate, your click-through rate, and all of the things like that. So talk about analytics, will you, and the importance of email analytics.
I mean, uh, analytics is what rates your success when you're sending an email. Okay, so in other words, if you look at your opening ratio, that is 5% only, and all the other ones have been 20, 25. Then okay, you know, what can I fix on that email? But you obviously you put time into the database, you put money into the database, you know you risk losing connection contacts if they don't like what you put in. So it's very important that you look at your ratios, the different you know, different ways, the information you receive from the database on, you know, what's working, what's not working, and you got to continue adjusting it. So I'm very obsessed with looking at my analytics and making sure that the number goes up, because that number is tied to how many sales you're going to do. If that number goes up 20%, I guarantee you my sales is going to go up 20%. So it's not only enough to bring as many contacts as you can, it's also the performance of your emails. And the only way that you're going to be able to know is through analytics. Absolutely.
100%. Jorge, let's be wrapping it up. Now, I know you use Active Campaign. I'm just going to show one of our sandboxes here. You use, and Greystone uses Active Campaign. We provide that as part of our service to you, and help you with that. Also, we provide it for the agents. So talk a little bit for the agents when they get ready to have, you know, a database with these things we're talking about. You know, it starts out $15 a month, so super easy to get into. So why don't you talk about Active Campaign just a little bit, and then we'll close out, because that is what Greystone uses.
Absolutely. Let me share mine if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
All
You've
right. So that way they actually see one with a ton of connections.
Go for it.
That's mine with 37,000 connections. This is what I look at in a daily basis, is that interaction rate. And when I see going down, I get sad. When it goes up, I get happy, because it's very tied to the amount of deals I'm going to close, to be honest with you, or the amount of buyers I'm going to get. Here you have, this is just a quick reference of the activity going on. It gives you a quick snapshot of what's happening right now with the emails that you just send out. This is very simple, guys. I click here, campaign, click on the campaign, and it goes at the speed of light. And then all I do is like, okay, I'm gonna create a campaign. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna say local campaign. Let's just get local, and then we go next. And it's very simple to use, right, guys? A couple of more steps. Hopefully, this goes a little faster. We got so many things opened up right now, but it usually doesn't take that long. Well, what it loads, you go to 2-3 different screens, pick up a template. Usually, you already have a few templates. Pick up the list of the people you want to send it to, and you're done. Okay, you see, these are the people, as you can tell. And let's pick any of them here. Next. And that's it. Then you pick your template, submit, send. If you want to pick a template where you're going to add a property, you could do one like this, or you could do one like this, add the pictures. Very simple. And then you sit back and relax and wait for those results. Here under contacts, you could have access to all of your contacts. You could say, I want to work with people that are active. So you go active here. Then you want to get talk to people that are I don't know that we tagged as potential VIPs, and you want to tag you know, these are people that are active potentially this week or whatever this month. So that's simple. You could click on it.
Yeah, it gives you the information, what their history is. You can send them a one-off email from there. You can see the pages they've looked at on your website and just all sorts of cool stuff there about each person.
This is the cool when I tell them, hey, listen, I'm calling you because I noticed you open up my email 4 times. Oh my God, how do you know that? It tells me that. And then this is what I do. This is how you follow them, just like a pizza commercial you see all over the place. You click on then Twitter, you click on LinkedIn, and you also follow them there. And hopefully they're part of a group or something. Oh, actually, oh, this is not the same Brian, but you guys follow, get my point, following. And now all of a sudden they're receiving emails from you. They're getting your social media from every angle. And it's all here in one centralized location. That's why I love this so much.
And Jorge, the active campaign brought in the social media automatically. It found out, it saw what the connections and relationships were and brought that in automatically. So then you can connect on all those other channels.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very friendly to use. You don't need a 10 degrees to understand it. Very easy. And in reality, those are most of the 2 things I use. Of course, we have automation. I don't want to bore you with that because, to Alan's point, there's a ton of them here. But the cool thing is that if we come up with really basic good automations, this is something we could share among all of us. If I have a cool automation and you're part of, now you have your own active campaign, I could share that with you. It's like I'm sharing my programming with you. You don't have to pay for it, So that's why when we work as a collective, we do better. And that's pretty much it, my friend. Also, you could give people like points and figure out who are your top contacts. There's so many things. Let me do the last one thing, which is very impressive. If you guys don't mind, real quick. Fantastic. Oh no, not this one. Oh, yeah. So we could click on this one. On this email that I sent today, there's already 706 people that clicked on it. So I could go, okay, people that specifically click on the property report, click on it. I have 552 people that clicked on it. And then I could go here times, people that clicked on it multiple times. And guess what? I already got 10 people to call right here. So it's amazing how much information you could get out of it. That's it.
That is super cool. And so that's one of the reasons Jorge and Greystone love to use Active Campaign. And, it's a great one to get started with if you're not using one right now. And it is super inexpensive, $15 a month to get started. That takes you up to 500 contacts. And, you can really get rocking and rolling and building your database and having this information and, marketing with it. So Jorge, let's go on and start. Start closing out here, and I'll just stop sharing there we go. And Jorge, let's wrap it up. I appreciate everybody who has joined us. Everyone here on Zoom, everybody on Facebook. Appreciate everyone doing that. Certainly hope it's been helpful for you today. And I tell you what, Jorge, I'm excited, man. We need to do a better job with email marketing too. So I've enjoyed the meeting also. And I'm Alan McNabb with Image Building Media. And Jorge, I'll let you finish up and close us out, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity of allowing me to present my experience with social media and email marketing. Please, guys, take it seriously. This is important long term. It is probably the most important thing you do. So take advantage of it. We're here for you. You never know, things might change. We might not be able to do this training. We might not be able to help you hands-on like this. So take advantage of it. We're here for you. Grayson Investment Group. You invest, we do the rest. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And just Norma chatted in a question. I'll answer it really quickly. Norma, that is the light for $15, and it's a great one to get started on, and you can always move up to the next one when you're ready. So if you have any questions, just WhatsApp me there. I'll be happy to help you out. So all right, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate all the kind messages, everybody coming through, and we'll see you at the next training. Thanks so much.